Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks so much for starting your day with us on this Friday. We have finally made it through another work week, and we've got the weekend, of course, in view. But you know what we have in view as well? Some hot temperatures, probably some of the hottest that we've seen so far this season.
Yeah, and it was certainly warm yesterday. You could feel the difference from the day before. So let's check in with Kevin and see what we're headed for on this Friday morning.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see a warm-up as we head into the weekend. And you can see behind me nothing really happening at Rosedale and Mohawk right now. We do have a few high clouds around the area that we'll be watching for as we go throughout the day. And you can see a few high clouds out there currently. I think they're going to burn off really quick, and sunny skies expected in the warm temperatures. 75 degrees on the temperature right now, an east-southeast wind at 3 miles per hour. And as we take a look at the satellite radar, you can see some high clouds drifting in from the south. And as we take a look at the hour-by-hour forecast, it shows a few of those high clouds in place through 7 a.m. And then as we progress into the afternoon, we are going to warm up into the triple digits. 64 degrees in Tehachapi right now under no winds. We will see a light breeze throughout the afternoon. And you can see here on our wind forecast, no major wind event is expected as we go throughout the next 48 hours. As we take a look at the hour-by-hour forecast for you, by 7 a.m., 65 degrees and then lower 90s expected as we progress into the afternoon. I'll have much more in your forecast. That's coming up in just a little bit.
All right, thank you, Kevin. The violence continues in McFarland after a drive-by shooting overnight. It happened just before midnight on A Street. Police say a person was walking in an alley when a car pulled up and someone opened fire. It's not clear how many people were in the car, but several shots were fired. The car drove off. When police arrived, they found a person shot, but they say the victim was uncooperative and did not want medical attention. You can call McFarland PD if you have any information on this shooting.
A man who skipped his sentencing for a crash that disabled a young woman is still on the run this morning. The district attorney's office has a warrant out for 34-year-old Esteban Gutierrez. It has been over 3 years since the crash. Prosecutors say Gutierrez was driving drunk and ran a red light on Callaway Drive, hitting a car driven by 23-year-old Jordan Backett. She can no longer speak, walk, or care for herself. Investigators say Gutierrez ran away from the crash but was arrested a short time later. This year he pleaded no contest. He was released on bail but never showed up for his sentencing in May. Here's another look at Esteban Gutierrez. He originally faced 12 years as part of his plea agreement. If you see this man, you're asked to call 911.
The memorial for 13-year-old Patricia Alatorre continues to grow in South Bakersfield. For the fourth straight night, people have gathered near the corner of Granite Peak and Crescent Ridge to remember the teen whose brutal murder has stunned and saddened the community. The Alatorre family says it will hold a vigil for Patricia each night until she's laid to rest. Alatorre went missing last week. Police have not confirmed if her body has been found. The man accused of killing her, Armando Cruz, pleaded not guilty to a dozen charges on Monday. Investigators say Cruz traveled from Los Angeles to meet Patricia after they connected on social media and then killed her and tried to hide her body. The family has a GoFundMe to raise money for the funeral and to help Patricia's father travel from Mexico to see her before she's laid to rest. They've raised $40,000 so far. Local car clubs are planning an event this weekend to help raise money for the Alatorre family. Organizers are hosting a cruise because Patricia Alatorre was a fan of cars. Organizers say they'll collect donations for the family at Mesa Marin Ballpark. The cruise will start at the park at 7:30 Sunday evening and end up at the corner of Granite Peak and Crescent Ridge Streets in South Bakersfield. And the latest on a brush fire that continues to burn east of Bakersfield. It's called the Flat Fire. It's burned about 40 acres near Highway 58 off Clear Creek Road and Hart Flat Road. And let me tell you, driving through that area this morning, I could definitely still smell the smoke. At one point, nearly a dozen homes were threatened.
When firefighters arrived on scene, they were able to establish that there were approximately 2 to 3 homes that were in immediate risk to catching on fire and other multiple homes that were at significant threat as well.
Firefighters were able to save those homes, though, and stop the forward progress of the fire. County Fire says it's 20% contained, and crews remained on scene throughout the night.
The California Community College Athletic Association approved a plan to move all sports seasons to the spring of 2021. The move was made yesterday, and it comes after spikes in COVID-19 cases across the state. The plan is to have all sports start their seasons in the spring. However, the seasons will only resume in January if it is safe to do so. All sports will also have a decreased number of tournaments and competitions. The CCCAA covers 110 community colleges and represents 24,000 athletes.
President Trump heads to Florida today, a growing epicenter of the coronavirus. The Trump administration is continuing to focus on reopening schools in the fall as COVID-19 numbers surge across the U.S. Alice Barr reports from Washington.
President Trump headed to Florida today to meet with military leaders fighting the drug trade. But it will be hard to ignore the fight all around him against the surging coronavirus. Florida now reporting more than 4,000 deaths and nearly 10,000 new cases in a single day this week.
We're seeing more and more families come in, more and more concerns.
Top health official Dr. Anthony Fauci urging states with soaring cases to pause their reopening plans and reassess.
We went from shutting down to opening up in a way that essentially skipped over all the guideposts. That's not the way to go.
President Trump claiming increased testing has become political ammunition, though critics argue he has politicized the pandemic.
We are testing and creating. It's the greatest thing that ever happened for the opposite party.
As the crisis grows, the president continuing to push schools to reopen as early as next month.
Open our schools. Stop this nonsense.
Parents and teachers in some hotspots say they will not be going back if the numbers don't improve.
I don't think schools should be opening up next month. The numbers here they're crazy.
The CDC now saying it will offer more direction for schools to open safely, but will not change its original guidelines that President Trump called too tough and expensive. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And President Trump tweeted this morning, "Now that we have witnessed it on a larger scale basis and firsthand, virtual learning has proven to be terrible compared to in-school or on-campus learning. Not even close. Schools must be open in the fall. If not open, why would the federal government give funding? It won't." And more U.S. colleges and universities are joining the legal effort pushing back on ICE restrictions that could send thousands of international students back to their home countries. The federal government's plan is to have ICE force out international students whose schools will only offer online classes in the fall, a move by schools to mitigate the further spread of COVID-19. The presidents of Cornell and Princeton sent letters to their university communities saying they are in support of litigation filed by Harvard and MIT in the U.S. District Court in Boston to prohibit enforcement of the order. Northeastern and Georgetown University are included in the filing. USC and Los Angeles filed court papers on Wednesday joining the lawsuit. The University of Michigan in Ann Arbor is also now included in that lawsuit. A hearing in Boston federal court is set for later today.
President Trump has implied he may already be ready to grant clemency to Roger Stone. The president's longtime friend was sentenced in February to 3 years in prison for lying to Congress. At least half a dozen sources close to Trump say the president is expected to pardon or commute Stone's sentence, which is set to start on Tuesday. In recent weeks, Stone has pleaded for a presidential pardon to avoid prison. In one interview on Thursday, Trump said Stone's prayers for a pardon may be answered. Tomorrow night, Bakersfield College and KGET will honor the more than 700 graduates receiving their diplomas from the county's oldest college. 17's Taylor Chaub is joining us this morning in studio with a look at a few students who've used their time at BC to better their community. Taylor?
Well, good morning. The coronavirus pandemic has taken a lot away from BC's class of 2020. However, these hardworking men and women have proved that no obstacle can stand in the way of their academic aspirations.
You may now move your tassel from right to left.
It's an iconic moment performed at Bakersfield College for more than 100 years.
The turning of the tassels, representing the end of one chapter and the beginning of their next. However, this year, that tradition and many others will take place in a virtual space, as BC honors their graduates Saturday on KGET. Among the 700 strong, these three remarkable students, each with a story aimed at making Bakersfield a better place.
It's going to be different, but I'm excited. I think everybody's just excited to graduate, especially during this last semester. It was so hard.
Samantha Polito is the president of the Student Government Association and has dedicated her time at BC to improving the lives of her fellow classmates.
I was able to represent students on the nationwide level, to represent the Bakersfield College student body about the Pell Grant and also about DACA students and undocumented students.
She achieved these feats while graduating with 4 separate degrees.
I was really determined to make my 3 years count here.
Reagan Lewis proved that if you work hard in community college, there's no need to transfer, becoming one of 7 students to earn a bachelor's degree while scoring a job as a controls engineer.
Everything that I've learned in class, I'm actually using in industry right now.
Well, Stephen Mulder credits the BC nursing program for his new job at Kern Medical.
I had a great opportunity to prove myself, and me and over 60 other of my classmates were energized to get into the healthcare field and work as nurses in the local hospitals to help our community deal with this pandemic.
But he, like the other 2, will miss his BC family most because, as Polito puts it,
at the Bakersfield College campus, you're not going to only find a community here, you're going to find a family.
Tomorrow night's televised commencement will air right here on TV 17 from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on our sister station, Telemundo. In the studio, Taylor Schaub, 17 News.
Thanks, Taylor. Saturday is graduation day for Bakersfield College, and while students won't be able to walk across the stage due to COVID-19, you can see their faces right here on KGET as they celebrate this milestone, and we celebrate with them. We've teamed up with Bakersfield College to host this year's 106th commencement. We'll celebrate more than 700 students and highlight several programs that BC has to offer. There will also be special guest speakers. We'll broadcast the commencement on TV 17 this Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 o'clock. We'll also live stream the event on our KGET Facebook page. The program will also air on our Telemundo sister station from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Welcome back. In entertainment news, Tom Hanks not only stars in a new film, he also wrote it. Our local entertainment expert Rick Bentley has more.
Well, the continued closure of movie theaters has forced studios to change the way they think about opening movies. Now, the new Tom Hanks movie, which cost $50 million to make, isn't opening in a theater, but will be available on a streaming service. Now, the film was supposed to be in theaters in June, but because all the movie theaters are closed, Apple TV has picked it up and it's making it available for you on July 10th. Now, what's happened is this is a World War II movie called Greyhound.
Congratulations on your command.
I'll always be looking for you, Evie, even if I'm 1,000 miles away.
Based on the book The Good Shepherd by C.S. Forrester. It's a story of Commander Ernest Krauss and his first mission during World War II. He's to escort a convoy across the ocean. Now, there's a big area in the ocean which the airplanes can't support, where U-boats are just picking off boats right and left. Now, not only does Tom Hanks star in this film, but he wrote the script. As an actor, he's great, but his falling comes down with the screenplay. What he's done is sort of stripped out all the emotional moments out of the Forrester book. And what left is a sort of rather mundane army movie. If only Hanks has been a good writer as a good actor, this film would have been a lot better. Now, if you're just looking for some mindless entertainment, I want to recommend Cannonball.
Look at that mullet flapping in the wind. It is drying, but it's about to get wet.
It's a new series that airs on Thursday nights on the USA Network. Now, the series puts competitors through some wild, watery challenges, everything from sliding down giant slides to diving into ice-cold water, with the winner going away with $10,000. Pure fun. There's nothing to think about with this series. It's just pure fun. As always, you can find more information about everything I talk about at kget.com. Please check that out and check out what I've got for you next week.